My speaker's not working.
Excuse me, Chair, you're muted now. If you could unmute yourself.
Okay. I think I'm right now. Did you get the karakia all right? Yes, okay. I'm still not hearing any of you. Can someone please just speak?
Hello.
Oh, yeah, I've got you. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Apologies for those hiccups. That's the thing about technologies. Welcome to anybody who's on the live stream. Welcome to board members, and welcome to all the staff members in attendance. It is lovely to see you all here, and the rain has stopped in Turangi, so that's a positive, although my garden definitely needed that rain. And we'll begin with a call for apologies, please. Do we have any? Nope. Moving right along. Any conflicts of interest to declare? Oh, then we'll move to minutes, confirmation of the last minutes. Someone like to move that they be taken as read.
Confirm.
George, second.
Aye, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you, that's agreed. Has someone moved that there are true and correct record, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, George. Second. Thank you, John. All in favour?
Aye.
Agreed, thank you. And are there any matters arising from those minutes, please? No? Very good. Then we move on to first report, which is 4.1, and it's the speed management plan. And Bryson, you're going to take us through that, I believe. Welcome, Bryson.
Yes. Good afternoon. Yeah, we've come to you last month with speed management stuff, and we talked about what that is and what it means for Turangi. We've now gone out to consultation on the 14th of March, and so it's been out to consultation for a little while now. Hoping you guys had a chance to have a look through all that and come up with your opinions and bits and pieces. So I've brought this back to this meeting again, just to guide whether you want to make a formal submission as a group, as the Turangi-Tongariro Community Board, or do you you could choose to not and do separate submissions. But that's what this agenda item's about.
Great, thank you, Bryson. What is the feeling of the board members, please? Do we want to put on a board submission to this?
Kia ora, Chair. I feel that it's vital that we do a submission on the speed management plan as we look to commit to reducing harm on our roads and streets.
Kia ora, Tak.
Yeah, I agree. We should do it as a group. I think we should also make it clear that we actually are agreeing, this is on personally, that we're agreeing to the council's speed limit restrictions that we're doing, not necessarily what whakaro are up to.
Kia ora, John. Yep. Anybody else?
Just one question through the chair. Kurato School. I noticed in the report there that it wasn't put down for any speed reduction. Is that because it was on the state highway?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. No, I knew there might have been a reason. Thank you.
Okay. So should we formulate that submission right now? That's the plan, Bryson?
Probably not best to formulate it right now. I guess what it says in here is that the Turangi Community Board makes a submission, and that it delegates authority to the chairperson to sign the final submission and to be lodged, noting that councillors who are on the decision-making side of things won't be able to put their names towards it.
Okay. Might we need a workshop on that, John Ritter?
If you want to, we can do that.
How do the board members feel about that? Is that a good idea?
Yes, I think that'd be a brilliant idea if we could do that, because then it presents us with the opportunity of discussing it further, then also formulating that and getting all over in one go.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's put the motion then.
Oh, Chair, I was just wondering, are we able to have some discussion on it now, though, without having written, but just asking the questions to the staff member, Bryson, in regards to some of the thinking behind the report given?
Absolutely. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, through the chair, my parties in particular around the Turangi piece, and in particular Hirangi Road, the reducing of 80, from 100 to 80, for me, Chair, is not reducing the harm or risk on that road. I did note within council's policy, because it's a rural road, that 80 was sufficient. However, if you recall last year when Bryson gave us, he did do a picture, diagram, and 80 kilometres is still going off the 8th floor if there was an impact. I recall that diagram. However, this Hirangi Road is, we've got a small increase of population, particularly young people. We've had many accidents that happened that would have gone not knowing, probably not reported. And so we've got significant infrastructure on that road, in particular the power lines. And these power lines affect not only the residents of Hirangi Road, but the outskirts go out to Motuopa across the Tongariro River. And so I'm not sure why we haven't done a better job in decreasing that speed limit, as we've had multiple cars crossing over and hitting into those infrastructures. We also have some, during when it's wet, we do have flooding in some other areas, in particular on a particular corner of Hirangi Road. And doing that speed, it's sort of hydroplanes, vehicles that go into a farm paddock. These incidents happen over and over again. We have many elderly still walk up and down that street as well. So I'm just trying to understand how come, well, in my belief, Chair, we haven't done enough of reducing that speed limit, and in fact 80 would not change the behaviour of drivers driving down Hirangi Road. So I was just wondering if we can get comment around why 80 and why not 60?
Okay. This is a bit of a tricky situation where I do understand that the need for the 80, and there's a lot of young people walking to and from school from Hirangi Road. The reason why we've kind of settled on 80 as the proposed limit, obviously, through submissions we could decide to change that. But the reason why we settled on 80 is because of the road doesn't feel like it should be any slower. When you drive it, if you didn't have any speed limits and you can only judge the speed limit based on what you see around you, it wouldn't feel like you'd be driving the correct speed if you were doing 60. You feel like you'd be going too slow. So we chose 80 from a point of compliance point of view. We would have to look at infrastructure to bring it down to 60. And that's potentially, this might be a two-stage thing. We might want to do 80 this time round, and on the basis that we put some money in the long-term plan to upgrade some infrastructure to make it feel more like a a slower speed environment and bring it down to 60. But at this stage, we don't have those funds to be able to do that. That's the reason why we are proposing 80. Obviously, I'm happy to take that feedback and through the council submissions or the consultation process, if there's a greater desire to try 60 for now, and then come in the next few years and reinforce that with infrastructure, then that might be the other option to do.
Yeah, it's just supplementary, Chairs, just in regard to, it's about changing the behaviours of making our road safer, and I believe 80 will not do that in that. Driving that road, I've driven that road for the last 40 years, nearly every day, and 70 or 60 is easily viable, and it will change the behaviours of those that are driving when currently they're going around 120 at times. So having a significant drop will make roads safer for my niece and my nephew that play along with all my other relations that play on that road as well. So definitely I would totally disagree with the 80 and reducing that harm and accidents that happen on that road, and most of it unreported. And it would be nice to see 70, but it'll be really, really cool to see 60. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Doug. I have to say I completely agree with your criticism, but perhaps we'll revisit that at workshop time. Rob, please.
Yeah, I tautoko what Tux has said. I'm one of those ones that didn't report to the accident and nearly hit a horse there. Came around the corner, just managed to see the glint of the eye. And so we have got livestock there. And I just don't like to be that ambulance at the bottom of the hill when we've got the chance to be able to sort of nullify this. And I would err towards that 60. And I know that our librarian here, Pam, put a petition out to reduce it down to that speed, because a lot of people have caught that, have been very close to having accidents, and I've seen a number of accidents happen down there. Managed to pull people out of cars that have gone into the paddocks that have aquaplaned. So I think when we do our submission that we actually put that in there. As I said, we don't want to be this ambulance at the bottom of the hill and one day have a fatal there when we could have had the chance to change the speed to. We could look at it the other way. Instead of reducing it back in stages, let's go from 60 and then if it needs to, we can come up. But I'd rather go the opposite way than the way that's been suggested. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Rob. Thank you. John?
I think just with what everybody else is saying there, Bryson, it's quite interesting that this is our speed management plan. And I think we should be putting out to the public their view. Like, I thought that was the idea of this. And so you could say it's 80 or you could say it's 60, but you could be asking for the public submissions on what they believe that road is. Because what you've said there about, it doesn't look like it's a 60. I'm sorry, but the Waitaka Strait doesn't look like an 80. I know what you're saying is because you come from that field, but for people who live here, I think if you're getting people's feedback, I think we should take that on board.
Oh, absolutely. And if the public feedback and the weighting from this group, by the sounds of it, 60, if that's the case, then we would need to take that on board and really take that forward. And that might be, we might just go with option 2 and drop it down to 60 and bring in some infrastructure in the next LTP round. And that might be the way to go.
Kia ora, John. I'm good.
I support everything that everyone has said, and we're all sitting in the same space, I believe. Bryson, the only concern that I had was I have had a complaint from Waihi. This is an individual who drives between Waihi and Turangi every day and utilises Hirangi Road. Her concern was that 80 was never going to be enough because she's had 2 incidents where she's nearly hit a cow and also a horse. The other was 2 residents who lived on Awamati Road, which joins Hirangi Road on the corner. One of them being the Fletcher family, who are a significant family within our wider hapu, but also my relatives. And they've seen some very near misses on the corner there due to it being at the 100 that it currently is. When I questioned them about the 80 opportunity that was being presented to them, they turned around and said to me, just put me in front of the car, hit me then and tell me what I look like afterward. So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm hearing that from the residents, 3 of them also inside Hirangi Road at the rural end, not at the towny end, have also real great concerns around their mokopuna, who don't seem to understand that a fence is a fence. And I can understand that when you're 5 or 6 years old, you don't see those boundaries. But as they say to us, are you going to pay for the funeral when my grandchildren get hit? So what I'm just trying to hone home here for you, Bryson, is that, and it's echoing what Councillor Mackie just said, although from our perspectives, we may not use this road and utilise it in the capacity that we're hearing the moans and groans about, what the reality is for the people who are on those roads is that 80 Ks is no different to the 100. So I would just have to say that from my perspective and from the interactions with residents, I would have to support a workshop, and I would also have to support a 60K type arrangement there, because 80 is going to cause more public outrage from some of those residents on that road.
Kia ora, George. Okay, look, I think if everybody's agreeable, I'll put it in your hands, John Ridd, to come back with a workshop time and place, and we'll make that submission as a result of that workshop. Yep.
Yeah, noted.
Yep. Thank you. Moving right along. Now we need to, Bryson's recommendation, which I did have here on my iPad. Recommendation that the community board makes a submission, as we've talked about, and that the Turangi-Tongariro Community Board delegates authority to the chairperson to sign the final submission and lodge it prior to close of submission. Can we have a mover and seconder for that, please? Thank you, Tak. Moved and second. Yep, thanks, George. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? That's agreed. Thank you very much. And the next big item is the annual plan submission. And Libby, you're going to lead us through that, I guess. Welcome, Libby.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Hey, this is probably quite a straightforward one. It's really just pretty much off the back of what we've just talked about around the speed management. It's around really asking the question if the community board would like to make its submission on the annual plan, and then really just the process from there. From our perspective, we're happy to help. And you may want to have a discussion around the practicalities of doing that, whether it's actually putting it into a workshop off the back of the speed management one. But the first question you probably want to ask, Chair, is does the board want to make a submission, and then we can do a process from there.
Thanks, Libby. I mean, I think we definitely ought to make a submission. What do the members think? Yep.
Yes.
So it would make sense to combine the two submissions into one workshop. Are the board members agreed to that?
Yes.
Aye.
Just through the chair, just for a bit of information context, the submission periods close at 2 different times. The annual plan closes on the 14th of April, which is coming up quite quickly. And the speed management, we've actually got an extra, I think it's another month. I don't think it closes until the end of May. So that may just factor into it a little bit. But you know, my colleagues may have some advice on whether or not it's possible logistically to get everyone together ahead of things. But yeah, just happy to support where we can from an engagement perspective.
I think for you, Chair, we could probably do the speed management plan at the same time earlier. I mean, I think I'm sensing Hirangi Road is one of the pain points. So I think you're probably quite clear, all of you, as to where we are on speed management. So maybe we'll try and just pull it forward in line with the annual plan period, rather than working 2 different periods. It just makes sense.
I'd certainly be happy with that. Thank you, John. What about the others? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Libby?
Just one question for you, sorry, Chair. Would you like this in person, or is a workshop in this forum adequate for that discussion?
I was hoping that this might be the last of these online meetings. I'm not a huge fan, but it's up to the others, I guess. What are you comfortable with? I'd much rather.
I think we just need clarity from, if you like, council. We're going back to having face-to-face meetings on the 26th, I think it is, but that's only because that's our next meeting. I think we just need to find out from council what they're happy with or what we're moving to.
Okay, we'll come back to you on that. Okay, in terms of the forum. Thank you.
Yep. Right. Thank you very much. And I'll put the recommendation that the board make the submission on the plan. Can I have a mover and seconder, please?
Mover.
Thank you. Was that you, Rob?
Yes.
Rob moved. Second, John. Thank you. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
That's agreed. Thank you very much.
Chair, can we just, as part of the minutes, just include our thanks to Libby and the team and those that put together our annual plan? Can we note that in the minutes, please?
Good idea, Tuck. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Okay. So next up is the report from Peter on the revitalisation project. Kia ora, Peter. Welcome again.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. I take it that most of you have gone through the report I've sent through. I'm just going to run through it quickly. With package 2, the previous report I said that we would have been completed with it already, but as you know, due to COVID, a couple of the crews have had to stay off, so we're almost done with it. The crews are working through the snag lists and finishing off the last berms in package 2. Like I've mentioned to a couple of the board members that I've seen, we are reworking some of the berms due to some service requests we received, and they are coming out much neater as previously. So we will take that and we'll move forward with that through the other project packages. Then the tree replanting is preliminary scheduled for end of April, as discussed previously. And I have followed up with Andrew Moore, and that's still in line with everything. And he's lined up the contractor to continue with the work to the end of April. Then package 3, we've finished with the curb and channel in Te Whakaaro Street. They've taken down the trees in Te Whakaaro, Noni Street and the Ruakura Streets. All of those have been removed. They are currently busy with stump grinding in Ruakura Street, and we are currently working in Noni Street with the curb and channel works there and replacing footpaths and driveways and letdowns. The report, I just added in some photos for you for Te Whakaaro. This one was taken just before we had to submit it, so I'm sure both sides, the inner and outer sections on the curb and channel, should be completed already. Then in Noni Street, that one we just finished with the stump grinding, so there all those grindings should be away and they would be removing the curb already. And yes, the last one I just mentioned is the firewood is still being distributed to the community. That's everything on mine. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to give answers.
Through the chair, Clint. Is it all right? Can you hear me?
You're on mute, Clint.
Oh.
Sorry. Can we go to Rob, please? Sorry.
Kia ora. Just a couple of things. I've been speaking to the residents of Whakaaro. They've really enjoying the sunlight. a few of the residents reckon they haven't seen that for a while, and the professionalism that Downers and the other crews, KVI, I think they are called, how they're working. Just one thing, is there any chance that I've got one resident on Rangipuia 79 pulled me up when I was driving around and asked about a berm. There was a lot of concrete left from, I know that was stage 1, but the concrete's come through. It could be through the rain, but it's she was pretty unhappy with the result and asked if that could be addressed. And just the third question is, April, is that a good time for planting these trees? I know we had to wait a while last time, but we're coming up to the frosty time, and trees drop their leaves and go into sort of a period of sleeping, I guess you could put it. Have we sort of got advice in terms of planting in that time, if it's the right time? Thank you.
Peter?
I've made a note of 79 Rangipuia. I'll get a contractor to just go past and have a look. I have requested that they go back into package 1 and just relook at some of the berms that I've made notes on. With all the rain we had and all the settling and everything of the berms, I've picked up 1 or 2 issues on them, so I'll just make a note for this one. And regarding the tree replanting, this info was given to me by the Parks and Reserve team, but I'll make a note and just make sure with them. But they said we should continue at end of April, but I'll just ask them again and I'll give feedback to everybody.
Yeah, I only say that because of the frosts here are quite serious. They get sort of below 0 sometimes, and I don't know if those trees will last sort of that over that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob and Peter. And John, back please.
Yeah, Peter, thank you for all the updates. Mine's about the trees as well, but more to do with the fact the reason we stopped obviously was because of what was happening to some of them. When we put them in over winter, as Rob says, is they do go dormant, but actually autumn, I'm not an arborist, but it is all right. What are we going to do? Are they bigger trees, and are they going to be secured better because it isn't a growing season?
Yes, they are bigger trees. I had a look at them. They are in the Parks and Reserves yard here in Taupo, and they are much bigger than the ones that's been planted. And I'll make sure with the contractor that they get better secured, and I'll see, maybe we can get them to be covered or something, but I'll have a chat with them and see. I think they also didn't want them to keep them at the yard too long, otherwise they could maybe die here. We've kept them well and they're still alive, and we're watering them, everything, but yeah, I'll just have a chat with them.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Buck?
Just feedback from a few residents this last week or two, just their thanks in regards to the stumpage grinder thing, the grinding of the stumps, removing that. The residents were quite pleased with the results, so just thank all those involved. Kia ora.
Will do so. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for Peter? In that case, I'll put the motion that we receive Peter's report, and thank you, Peter, once again for your ongoing work. So a mover and a seconder for the recommendation, please. Thank you, Tong, and second, John. All in favour? Against? It's agreed. Thank you very much. Moving right along. Our next item is 4.4, the customer relations report from Jason, please.
Yep. Afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Jason.
So you put a report in that should be with the agenda that has a nice little graph on it, considering our service requests and kind of what the averages are. Top themes for this month have been like barking and roaming, trees, rubbish and recycling, especially, because they've had a lot of people down with COVID, etc. So rubbish and recycling collection has been a bit slower than normal. Lighting and also berms. But as Peter said, berms are on the list. Hoping to see some more people in town come the 12th when borders reopen. And cool. On the, I guess, projects front, obviously tracks, the third party has been engaged to lead the scoping and discovery project of the project. The Taupō Park Playground has had a lot of work done it, which I would leave Marama if she wants to update you guys on that one, because she'll know a lot more about that. And the Turangi-Tongariro Park, so the initial unbudgeted expenditure has been approved by the council. And the main contractor is preparing a revised pricing and proposal reflecting the current market rates. Apart from that as well, been chatting with Libby, etc., to get some more information out to the public, which has been great. And yeah, they had a little chat with the Moe Kuroto Charitable Trust the other day. And that's mainly regarding the annual plan. So the locals will be able to know what's happening in the annual plan, which is great because they can get a say in the submissions in. But apart from that, it's been business as usual. And again, we're always here to help and talk to anyone who wants to come in and have a chat about the annual plan or any other concerns.
Great. Thank you, Jason. Marama, did you want to come in now as well? Kia ora.
Hi, kia ora. Yep, I'll jump in. So for me, the last few things that I've been a part of, for one, has been also the annual plan. So putting out some engagement stuff around that, which involved posting up on the local community pages, as well as reaching out to different community reps, and they then shared that out within their own little groups in their communities. And this was followed up with some pop-up sessions that we had at the Turangi Library as well as at the market. And I think from what I got back from Helmuth and Rose was that although it wasn't hugely busy, they still managed to get a few people coming through asking different questions in regards to the annual plan. And it also included Jason and I visiting out at Omori Kuroto with some of the community members there. And I felt that that was a really good thing to do. They did have a few questions that were actually probably a little bit beyond me, to be honest, but it was great that we were able to take notes from that, come away, do a bit of background work. And yesterday, actually, Libby headed out there and met with, I think, which looked to be quite a good number of people, as well as from Whareroa and Pukawa. So they would really have appreciated that, I felt. Libby would obviously have a bit more feedback on that, but I think it was a positive hui. And the other thing, obviously, as Jason touched on, has been the papatakoro at Te Kapua Park. So we've done a little bit of tallying up, and it looks like overall I probably did some face-to-face engagement with maybe around 150 tamariki, rangatahi and pepe from the kohanga reo. Online, we've received well over now 200 submissions. So that's huge for Turangi. And the online submissions are open until the end of this week. So I've kind of kept pushing that on the community pages just so that people do remember to give us their feedback. We've also managed to, well, I've also managed to connect with a spokesperson or rep with the disabled groups in Turangi. So they've been able to have their input as well. And we've recently just been presented with the concept design version 2 from Lee, which looks amazing. There's a little bit of work still to be done on that, and of course that's ongoing still at this stage, but making some really good progress with that all in all. And probably the last thing, which I think has been quite cool and has come about with a little bit of push from one of the board members, which is George, is a community garden. And that has been really well received with Awhi Farm out by the golf course, if anyone that doesn't know it. So I met with Lisa, who looks after Awhi Farm. We talked through a bit of a plan, and I've just finished helping her submit her first funding application to the Lines Company to try and get this kick started. I think it would be an awesome incentive for Turangi, especially at the price of cabbages that they've been recently. So she's super keen to try and get this happening for the community, anyone that wants to jump on board. But I'll have more update for you as that progresses along, but it's looking positive. That's all from me, really. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Ma. Thank you very much.
Can I just add for Ma is a big thank you for what you're doing, because you are, if you like, the missing link that we've been looking for. And I think when we talk about from council to social media to actually getting to the people, I think you've now got that link that we were talking about that we wanted, because obviously seeing 200 people, etc., that's the people that we wouldn't have seen. And obviously that's what's moving everything forward. So between you and Libby and actually the team, I have to say that's what we need for Turangi. And, you know, you have to look at Turangi now and go, we are hugely well serviced now with our information from council to everybody. And I just think it's hats off to you guys.
Kia ora, John. I totally agree. Tautoko that. George.
Kia ora, and again, I'm supporting what everyone else has said. But what I did want to say to you both, Jason and Ma, is that this is directly from the residents. They didn't believe you when you first came out and said that you were interested in engaging, and to have seen your face 3 times in 2 weeks has blown their minds. And they actually said to me, you've actually told us that you're true and you're actually authentic in the way that you want to engage with community. So thank you. You know, from our perspective, you make us look really awesome. And for the wider community, it's awesome to know that they can access you now. You know, previously, some of them were saying to me that they didn't even want to engage with us. Now they want to have a conversation. They know your names. They know your faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is what engagement's all about. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Tuck. Muted.
Just trying to find the mute button, Chair. Going between Teams and Zoom is they all have a bit of a difference. Just when Ma mentioned Awhi Farm, I just like to note, Chair, Awhi Farm was a big supporter to our community during the COVID times, providing many of kai packs and vegetable packs to our communities. I'd just like to note that also, to give our thanks to Lisa, to Awhi Farm and their team for providing kai in those vital times from last year and before. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Tuck. Great words here. Thank you. Okay. Any further questions?
Yeah, one for
Ross.
Jason. One for Jason. How's those renovations going on in the eyesight? Read those rooms, conference rooms, and have we got a time for it when it's going to be open?
We've just got lighting being put up today, and that pretty much is kind of the last thing that we need to do before we can get it open to the public, apart from just getting some furniture in there.
Is there going to be a blessing or anything, Jason?
That's something that we could discuss. But yes, there is.
Yeah, being a new place, I think that'd be cool.
Sorry, just on the calendar for tomorrow, what's that on tomorrow at just after 12? Is that not there?
The CX workshop?
Yeah.
Yep, that's here. That's down here. And
Yeah.
then outback. Yeah.
So that's what we're coming to have a look at, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Has
That's what
everybody
we held.
been invited to that?
Pardon?
Has everybody been invited?
I'm invited, but I don't know if everyone was invited, John.
Sorry, through the chair, Chairman Green, if you like, because it's my workshop, so I'm happy to speak to it if you like. At this stage, we haven't extended it to the full TTCB board at this stage. We've got a few candidates coming along, and what we're seeking for is some initial feedback on how we want the look and the feel of the space to be. We now have a very white blank space, and we want some feedback, and then our team can go away and finalise the draft of what that feel is, and then we can bring it back to the board to present before we go ahead with it. So it's about that new white space we created, and also the outside of the building, the signage on the outside and that sort of thing. So
That's cool. That's cool. I was just wondering why they didn't know. Sorry, I didn't see who was actually invited. That's cool.
It's okay.
Yeah,
So
because one of John's thoughts was to have progress pictures and things like that around the wall, and probably things that we have achieved already, like a progress sort of chart going around. So hopefully that'll be maybe one of the ideas.
We've certainly got that scripted. Kia ora, Rob. We've certainly got that scripted. We've got quite a few ideas and stuff in our heads, and now we want to hear from a few other people across the group to make sure we're on the same page. And then we can get you guys some pretty pictures from our amazing digital fabulous Amy to mock it up. We've got a mock-up of the outside that we want some feedback on, but ultimately we didn't want to take any assumptions in the room, and we wanted to give you the white space to see what you came out with, and then it's we can sort of go to the order, we can go on. But very much around making sure we nail what story the Turangi community wants to tell within their building. So.
Thanks, Tanya. Tanya, great. All right, any further comments, questions on that report? Then I'll move the recommendation that we receive the report. Please, mover and seconder.
Move.
Thank you, John and Rob. Was it? Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Now we move on to the update from community engagement, and I'll ask Libby, but we're also going to ask Hillary to join in this conversation following Libby, please. Thanks, Libby.
Kia ora anō. Hey, generally what we've been doing the last couple of months is having Marama speak to the engagement, because she's obviously on the ground. So I probably don't have too much to add, but I just really wanted to take the opportunity to say thanks for the support around the engagement approach. It's very much we'll test it and see how it works. So really happy to get any feedback. Please feel free to let me or Ma know if you'd like us to do things differently or things that are going well or whatever. But it really does seem that that actually saying to communities, how would you like to engage, we'll come to you, as opposed to please come and see us on this date and expecting people to turn up. It seems to work really, really well to do it that way. And just reflecting yesterday in Omori, I think we had over 20 people there, and it was a very positive conversation, which is entirely pleasant. That message around tell us the things we're doing well, as well as the things that you want to change, seems to be going down a treat. So thank you for your support of that. I don't know if there were any questions, but I'm happy, Chair, if we want to use this time just to pass over to Hillary.
Thank you, Libby. I think that's a good idea, unless there are any questions for Libby. Kia ora. Thanks again. We'll pass over to you, please, Hillary. Welcome.
Yeah, kia ora. Thank you for having me. I've snuck onto the agenda a little bit, so apologies that I haven't got anything to you in writing, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a verbal update on what has been known as the district plan review and is now moving forward instead to a series of plan changes to our district plan. That's on the basis that there's a whole lot up in the air legislation-wise at the moment. The RMA is obviously up for reform, and we saw the exposure draft of that, or of the new Act, which is the Natural and Built Environment Act, will mean that our plan is likely to be sucked up into some sort of regional planning model at some stage. So rather than us spending a lot of time and resources redoing the entire plan now, we've just moved to this more refined series of plan changes, which means we can just fix up bits and pieces where they're not quite meeting community expectations, or they're causing issues. Yeah, and just basically give it a tidy up so that it's all running really nice and smoothly while we transition into the new Planning Act. So what we're doing is sort of a couple of bundles of plan changes. And the first sort of bundle that we're going to consult on probably towards the end of this month is called, includes the strategic directions, which is kind of the overarching chapter of the district plan, the rural chapter, a very discrete plan change on residential coverage, which is about how much space your house can take up on your section, and some work in the town centre and industrial environments. Now, I guess I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up, really, that we're really keen to have a look at Turangi, and especially the town centre environments, the industrial environments, and how that fits in also with the residential environments in Turangi. But we're going to slow that and do that in the second bundle. So it won't be in this initial bundle of plan changes that we're going to consult on at the end of the month. And the reason behind that is that there's also a lot going on, I guess, in the Turangi space with the mana whakahono in process, and that's got quite big implications for how we work together in the RMA space. So just slowing down, a look at Turangi will mean we can work in with that mana whakahono as well and make sure that we're putting that into action. So I guess my main message is that we'll be back to talk to you soon. We've got a few ideas about how the town centre could be improved, but obviously we need to have quite a few conversations about that. So we'll be back to talk to you in the near future in more detail.
Well, kia ora, thank you, Hilary. Are there any questions from the board? For
So
Hilary?
I suppose, Hilary, the question would be is, because we're obviously coming to an end, is there any point in doing that or waiting for the new entity to begin?
Well, I guess I'm happy to take your lead on that. As you have illustrated with all your feedback that you've been providing on the other topics, your knowledge of what the community, what ideas are out there in the community is still, of use. So I'm happy to follow your lead. I can come and have a talk to you about that in detail prior before you wind up, or I can wait. It's totally in your hands, but I just think you have value to add in that space with your links through to the community.
Oh, and I'm happy. Or I suppose what I was saying is if it's just, as you say, to gather information, that I'm more than happy to be doing that. If it's just for information, I think we should continue down this road. It's just if it was anything more formal, then obviously I would say after the fact.
Yeah, so we're looking at really probably having some concepts pulled together for the middle of the year, but there'll be conversations prior to that to help, inform those concepts. So I think those timeframes still work in, that we can come and have a chat to you and get that input into that conceptual stage if you're comfortable with that.
Yep, 100% happy. Thank you.
John? Anybody else? All right, thank you very much, Hilary, and thank you, Libby. The recommendation is that we receive the report on community engagement, and I have a mover and seconder, please.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, George. And second was? Oh, thank you, John. All in favour? Against? That's agreed. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that brings us through to members' reports already. Goodness. I just remind the board that after we close meeting, we will be hanging around and having a kōrero with corn. Thank you. Okay, members' reports. Can we just go random, please? Just raise your hand if you've got a report, and we'll take you in random order. Paula, your hands up. I'll come back to you, Paula. Tak.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair. I was just hoping to just provide a update, if not known, to the board members that the DHBs will cease to exist on the 30th of June, and the new interim Health New Zealand and Māori Health Authority will go live on the 1st of July 2022. Merging of all DHBs to form Health New Zealand. Health New Zealand will have 4 regional divisions managing locality networks for primary and community healthcare, and the regional hospital networks as well. And so I was just putting it out there to the rest of the board members that primary and community healthcare in the future will be reorganised to serve our communities through localities. And as I understand it, on the Māori Health Authority, they're only establishing a first 12 in the first tranche of establishing these locality groups. The implications for us here within our communities could be significant, and I was just perhaps maybe we invite the DHBs or even Pihanga and Tūwhareto Health to, one, formally thank them for their work during the COVID time, and then also ask them around how they're going to be dealing with these changes. So that's one big item I feel that's vital for our community, just to get some more understanding about how Health New Zealand and the Māori Authority would look like in the health space for our community. Also, Chair, just wondering, will Council continue to support the board in providing a wreath for Anzac ceremonies this year? So those are the thoughts, or that's something that's coming up too. Nō reira, tēnei te mihi kia tātou. Just once again thank all of our staff, council staff during these times. It's still really, a lot of caution still happening in our community, and it's trying to look at those that are vulnerable, those that are alone, those that are still not leaving. It's trying to look at maybe their either mental health or just providing a bit of awhi or support. That's where I feel where we could make some impacts, or is it a community event of some sort, or I'm not sure, but there's just feels still a little bit edgy in our community, Chair. Kia ora.
Kia ora tākina. George.
Kia ora anō. Just a couple of updates. Muri Kuratou are having a civil defence community meeting, and they're drawing in everyone or any of the suspects that would work within civil defence, and they're trying to do that because we on this side of the lake are very aware that there are no community hubs present for us if there should be a emergency or civil defence emergency. So I congratulate them on that. They've sent out quite a few invitations to the wider community, and we'll be meeting to discuss our connections, relationships, and how we work together and more closely moving forward. The other one is, and actually I need to say thank you again to staff, because they followed up with that crew over there. Thank you, Libby. Without your help, they wouldn't have got to this point, so thank you very much. I also wanted to bring to everyone's attention, and I'm not crying my own, or singing my own song. I'm an artist in another life, and I applied for a significant sum of money to celebrate Matariki after the debacle that was not Matariki last year. And what I've done is I have secured enough funding to create an art installation that's going to be down at Whareroa and also at Tukanu. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'd like staff to let me know if there are any council events happening around Matariki, and if there are any local events happening around Matariki that may not be council associated. The reason being is on each of the different artworks that you'll see in the installation, there'll be a QR code, and the QR code is there so you can link to national, local and regional Matariki events that are happening in Aotearoa, and also give you an overview of the actual art piece that you're standing in front of. So what I've done is 10 boxes. The first box is to a kuia, her name is Parekawa, because of the fact that we live here in Whareroa, and that's where it will be installed in the first instance. And there are 9 boxes that will sit behind Parekawa, and they represent the stars of Matariki. The one that will be very different to the other boxes that are there will be the star named Puanga, and that is because of the fact that here in Ngāti Whareroa, we wait for the rising of Puanga to celebrate Matariki. So I'm just putting it out there on the 24th of June, we're celebrating Matariki, and no mahara mai ki Whareroa, I'll send you all an invitation, and we'll start 2 weeks of Matariki here at Whareroa, and then the final 2 weeks will be down at Tukanu. And that's about it for me.
Kia ora, George. Paula, is your hand up to speak?
Oh, it is too. I apologise in that for, I've had both my iPad and my phone going, and it's not really the best thing to do. So, no, it's just frustrating for me at the moment because I don't actually have anything to do except be, participate in this at the community board level. That is all. I just feel like I've got nothing really to contribute. What more? But I have been listening. If it doesn't look like that, I have been listening since just after 2 o'clock. It's just I've had trouble, trouble with my phone. So I have been listening to everything that's been said about Hirangi Road and about Matariki, and the just the few things that have been said. So I would like to say about the Hirangi Road that I know it's all been said. 60k seems like a reasonable, speed limit to that road, so that it keeps everyone safe. So we have to catch up, Clint, don't we?
Paula, you'll be.
We haven't got long to go. No, you've come at a very sort of difficult time, really, Paula, and with your hospitalisation as well, taking you out of the loop for a while there. But don't feel bad. You're a contributing part of this group, and we'll be back face to face hopefully next time as well, which makes life a little easier. Thank you for being there online for us. Te Takinga, does your hand back up again? No. Yes. No. Okay. Rob.
Yes. Oh, a minute, we've got to go. Oh, yeah, got off the mute. Yeah, just welcome. We've got a new business just started in Turangi. Been liaising with Taupō Chiropractic, and he's opened a new studio, well, not studio, a new treatment area at Westerman's building, which was the old Bailey's one. So he's coming down Mondays and looking at increasing his business down here to more as he's required. So we'll have actually a chiropractor within our area. Also been liaising with around the Rokura and around those where they've been doing the tree work for the new revitalisation, just talking to a number of them and answering any questions that I can or passing it on to Peter. There's a few questions starting to come up now about the trees and what they're going to do with the leaves this year. It's an ongoing issue, and as I've said, that the trees are starting to drop now. So we'll get answers to that probably later on as it becomes more and more of a problem. So yeah, it's just more or less just answering a lot of questions and just watching the progress. And I think it's the community seeing what's happening around, and with Marama and Jason on board, just positive feedback from them, and going forward, I think we're in a great space. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Rob. Anybody else? Well, good. All right. Well, I'll have someone please move that we accept the. Oh, I have one thing. Sorry, I did have one thing that I wanted to say, and that's that last weekend. No, weekend before last, I attended a memorial service for Dennis Malloy, and Dennis was a long-term resident in Turangi and was very active in the community. Dennis was an ambulance officer for a long time, night owl member for a long time, and of course a prominent businessman as well, having built, I think built the Mitre 10 complex and building in his time, and had a home appliance store as well. So Dennis passed away recently, very sadly, with terrible dementia. He'd and become unmanageable to live at home, and spent a year in a rest home in Waihi, and then passed on recently. So it was good to get across. It was in Whangamata, where he'd moved to with his wife Elaine, and Elaine, of course, was a long-term teacher at Turangi Primary and then at the Kura. So it was great to pay community respect over there. Yeah, and now someone move, please, that we accept the members' reports. Mover and seconder, thank you. Te Takinga, second Rob. Thank you very much. All in favour? And against? And it's agreed. Just before we close, and remember we've got Paul on in a minute, I just acknowledge Karen. We haven't had Karen taking our minutes before, and I didn't introduce you, Karen, so I will do that now. Thank you for being there, taking our minutes and getting them out to us this time round. Very nice to meet you.
Thanks, kia ora, Clint. Kia ora, everybody. Thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks for the welcome. Hopefully meet you all in person soon.
All right. Then, if it's okay with everybody, I'll use the closing karakia, council karakia again to close the meeting. Unuhia te rito o tēnei hui. Kia wātia I runga, kia wātia e raro. Aro ki te tika, aro ki te pai. Hui e taiki.
Taiki.